They want you angry. They want you disturbed. They want you emotional. Because an angry mind is easy to predict, and an emotional person is easy to control. The moment you lose your calm, you lose your clarity. The moment you lose your clarity, you surrender your strength. Many people misunderstand silence. They believe silence is weakness. They think silence means submission. But in truth, silence is one of the highest forms of power. Silence means you have trained your emotions. Silence means you have chosen your battles wisely. Silence means that you are not reacting. You are responding when people try to provoke you. It is not always because they dislike you. Often they are testing their own influence over you. They want to see if they can control your mood, your energy, your focus. If they succeed, you are no longer walking your own path. You are walking theirs. In the Shaolin Temple, we train the body every day, but more importantly, we train the mind. You can have a body of iron, but if the mind is weak, even the smallest insult can shake you. You can have a strong punch, but if your temper controls you, your strength becomes your weakness. This is why silence is not the absence of sound, it is the presence of control. When the world pushes your buttons, you have two choices: to react or to reflect. Reaction is immediate, impulsive, emotional. Reflection is calm, grounded, conscious. Every time you choose silence over reaction, you are winning a battle that no one else can see. The battle within. Silence is not about avoiding conflict, it is about mastering it. There is a time to speak and a time to remain silent. Wisdom is knowing which is which. The silent person is not blind or ignorant. He sees everything but chooses what deserves his energy. They want you angry because anger divides your focus. It weakens your attention. It makes you forget your purpose. And when your purpose is forgotten, you lose direction. When you lose direction, the world can easily steer you anywhere it wants. In martial arts, when two fighters face each other, the one who reacts emotionally is already defeated. Because anger makes you predictable. Anger makes you blind. But calmness gives you the power to see the opening, to find the moment, and to strike with precision. That is what win big means. You win not through aggression, but through patience. You win not through reaction, but through intention. When you remain silent in the face of provocation, people will call you cold, emotionless, even weak. But remember, they only call you weak because they cannot understand your discipline. They only mock your silence because they fear your strength. Weak people shout, strong people observe. The greatest victories in life are not always visible. They are the quiet moments when you control yourself instead of controlling others. They are the times when you could have reacted, but you chose peace. They are the days when you faced chaos, yet you remained centered. Look at nature. The storm makes noise, but the mountain remains silent. The storm comes and goes, but the mountain stands still. Be the mountain. Let the winds of anger pass around you, not through you. When people want to make you angry, what they really want is access to your energy. They feed on your attention. They drain your peace. The more you respond, the more you give. But when you remain silent, you cut off their source of power. You remind them that you belong to yourself. Every reaction is a form of energy exchange. The one who stays calm stays in control. The one who loses calmness loses control. So ask yourself, who truly wins? The one who shouts, or the one who stays silent and watches the storm pass? To stay silent does not mean to suppress your feelings. It means to understand them. You feel the fire inside, but you do not let it burn your inner peace. You observe your anger like a cloud passing through the sky. You see it, you understand it, but you do not become it. When you learn to master your emotions, no one can manipulate you. You become unpredictable, and unpredictability is freedom. In this world, we are surrounded by noise. Opinions, arguments, debates, distractions. Everyone wants to speak. Few want to listen. But the master knows that listening is more powerful than speaking. Because when you listen, you learn. When you stay silent, you grow. Winning big is not about defeating others. It is about defeating the old version of yourself. It is about rising above the chaos, above the noise, above the temptation to react. Every time you remain calm in a storm, you are evolving. Every time you choose silence over anger, you are sharpening your inner sword. When your silence becomes strong enough, even your presence will speak louder than words. people will feel your energy, your control, your groundedness. They will realize that you do not need to speak to be powerful. The journey to mastery begins with awareness. You must first notice what makes you angry. Observe how your body reacts, how your mind changes, how your breath becomes heavy. Awareness gives you space to choose your response. And in that space, freedom lives. Silence is the bridge between awareness and action. It allows you to see clearly before you move. And when you move, your movement is precise, purposeful, unstoppable. The warrior does not react to every noise. He waits for the right moment. The wise man does not respond to every provocation. He saves his energy for creation, not destruction. They want you angry because anger blinds you to truth. But when you stay silent, you see everything. You see people's intentions. You see patterns. You see opportunities. Silence sharpens your perception. Let your silence be your strength. Let your calmness be your weapon. Let your peace be your revolution. Remember, silence is not weakness. It is the art of self-mastery. And the one who masters himself masters the world. Stay silent, stay grounded, stay powerful. That is how you win. Not loudly, not violently, but gracefully. Win so quietly that no one notices until it's too late. Win not because you fought harder, but because you stayed still while others lost themselves. They want you angry. Stay silent. Win big. In this world, everyone wants to move fast. Everyone wants to respond instantly, to prove their point, to win every argument, to make noise, as if noise equals strength. But true strength, my friends, is found not in movement, but in stillness, not in reaction, but in presence. They want you angry, because when you are angry, you are no longer yourself. You become a puppet of emotion, dancing to the rhythm of someone else's intention. Every time you react without awareness, you hand over your peace to another person. You become their instrument. But when you remain still, when your mind is calm, when your energy is centered, you cannot be manipulated. You become like a tree deeply rooted in the earth. No matter how strong the wind, it cannot uproot you. It can only move your leaves, never your roots. Stillness is not about doing nothing. It is about doing everything consciously. When you move with purpose. When you speak with precision. When you act from awareness, not from emotion. That is true mastery. In the Shaolin Temple, every morning we meditate before we train. People ask, why sit still when there is so much to do? The answer is simple. Because without stillness, every action becomes scattered. When the mind is still, every movement becomes efficient, powerful, meaningful. You cannot pour water into a cup that is already shaking. The mind is the same. If it is trembling with anger, fear, or pride, no wisdom can settle inside it. Only when you still the mind can clarity arise, and clarity is the foundation of victory. When people insult you, when the world tests you, when others try to provoke you, this is not punishment. This is training. Life is testing your level of mastery. Will you lose your balance, or will you stand firm? Will you be drawn into the chaos, or will you observe it calmly, as if watching clouds pass across the sky? They want you angry because anger spreads fast. It is contagious. It turns wise people into fools and calm moments into storms. But the person who practices stillness is immune. He does not absorb chaos, he transforms it. To remain still is to become untouchable. Imagine a lake. When the surface is disturbed, you cannot see your reflection. But when the lake is calm, you can see everything clearly. Your life works the same way. When you are agitated, you lose perspective. You see only fragments of truth. But when your inner lake becomes calm, reality reveals itself completely. Do not think that silence and stillness mean weakness. In truth, they require enormous inner strength. It is easy to react. It is easy to shout. It is easy to strike back. What is difficult is to breathe, to observe, to let the energy pass through you without letting it stay. Stillness is the highest form of resistance. When the world expects you to fight, you disarm it with calm. When people expect you to break, you surprise them with peace. When they try to shake your spirit, you show them that your center cannot be touched. To win big is not to defeat others. It is to conquer the chaos within yourself. When your mind becomes still, you begin to see that the outside world is merely a reflection of your inner state. The more peaceful you are inside, the less power the outside world has over you. In Shaolin philosophy, we say, before the battle outside, there is always a battle within. The first enemy is never the opponent in front of you. It is the noise inside your head. Doubt, fear, anger. These are the shadows that block your light. When you master stillness, you stop feeding those shadows. You begin to live from awareness, not reaction. You see that anger is just energy, neither good nor bad, and when directed wisely, it becomes focus, determination, and clarity. They want you angry because anger burns energy quickly. It leaves you tired, distracted, unfocused. But stillness conserves energy. It allows you to direct your attention like a beam of light, precise and unstoppable. You must understand, the world does not owe you peace. It will not stop testing you. Every challenge, every person, every situation, they exist to reveal your weaknesses so you can transform them into strengths. Do not curse the storm. Use it to strengthen your roots. Sometimes staying silent is the loudest statement you can make. Your stillness communicates that you are no longer operating from ego. You are operating from mastery. The person who can remain calm when insulted has already transcended the game of comparison. He is no longer fighting for validation. He already knows who he is. The path of mastery is not about winning arguments. It is about winning yourself. The one who knows himself cannot be provoked because he no longer seeks approval. The one who is still cannot be moved by words because he no longer identifies with the noise of others. To cultivate stillness, you must train daily. You must learn to pause before reacting. You must learn to breathe before speaking. You must learn to observe before deciding. Each pause is a seed of wisdom. Each breath is a reminder that you control your energy. Stillness is not something you find once and keep forever. It is something you practice every moment. The world will challenge your peace again and again. That is its nature. But the more you return to your still point, the stronger it becomes. Eventually, even in chaos, you remain calm. Even in noise, you remain silent inside. When you embody stillness, your silence speaks louder than words. People feel your energy. They sense that you are not reacting from emotion, but from presence. And that presence is magnetic. It draws respect. It commands attention without demanding it. Think about water again. When it is calm, it reflects light. When it is turbulent, it distorts everything. Your mind works the same way. When you are calm, you reflect truth. When you are agitated, you distort reality. So the question is, do you want to reflect or distort? Stillness gives you time, and time gives you power. When everyone is rushing, reacting, panicking, your stillness becomes your advantage. You see what others cannot see. You notice what others overlook. You act only when necessary, and your actions carry weight because they come from clarity, not confusion. They want you angry because anger makes you noisy. But the world listens most to those who can speak softly with power. The greatest leaders do not shout. The greatest warriors do not boast. The greatest minds do not argue. They observe, they understand, and then they move with precision. So, how do you practice stillness in a noisy world? Start small. When someone provokes you, breathe instead of speaking. When you are frustrated, sit quietly for a moment instead of reacting. When you want to prove yourself, ask, to whom am I proving it? You will realize that most battles are unnecessary. Every time you choose stillness, you gain strength. Every time you remain calm when the world expects you to explode, you rise above the crowd. That is how you win big. Not with noise, not with reaction, but with quiet certainty. A storm cannot last forever, but the mountain stands eternal. Be the mountain. Let the storm roar. It cannot harm what does not move. Remember, stillness is not the absence of life. It is the presence of mastery. They want you angry because your anger feeds their weakness. Stay still because your peace reveals your strength. Win big because nothing can defeat a mind that remains calm. They want you angry. They want you loud. They want you to lose control. Because the moment you lose control, you lose connection to yourself. And the person who loses connection to himself is no longer walking his path. He is walking someone else's. Anger is not the enemy. Anger is energy. pure, raw, powerful energy. But like fire, if you do not master it, it burns you. And like fire, if you guide it, it becomes light, it becomes warmth, it becomes power. The difference lies not in the fire itself, but in your ability to control it. In the Shaolin Temple, we learn to master the body. But the body is only the outer layer of training. The real mastery lies in mastering the mind. And the highest level of mental mastery is emotional control. To control your emotions does not mean to suppress them. It means to understand them deeply. Most people in this world are driven by emotion without even realizing it. They think they are making decisions, but in truth, their emotions are deciding for them. One insult and they explode. One disagreement and they disconnect. One disappointment and they give up. This is not freedom. This is slavery, emotional slavery. They want you angry because anger clouds your mind. When your mind is clouded, you cannot see clearly. You cannot think strategically. You cannot act from wisdom. You become reactive, predictable, and manipulatable. But when you learn emotional control, you become free. You become unpredictable. You become untouchable. Control is not about rigidity, it is about awareness. You must be able to feel your emotions without becoming your emotions. Feel the anger, but do not let it speak for you. Feel the pain, but do not let it decide for you. Feel the frustration, but do not let it move your hands or your tongue. When someone insults you and you stay silent, it is not because you are weak. It is because you are strong enough to observe the emotion without letting it own you. When someone betrays you and you remain calm, it is not because you are indifferent. It is because you are wise enough to protect your peace. In martial arts, every movement begins with awareness. Before we strike, we breathe. Before we defend, we observe. Before we act, we align body and mind. The same applies to emotions. When anger arises, breathe first. When sadness appears, breathe first. When fear tries to take over, breathe first. Because in the breath lies control. Your breath is the bridge between your body and your mind. It is the tool that connects the visible with the invisible. When the mind becomes turbulent, the breath becomes shallow. When the mind is calm, the breath becomes deep. So, when you feel anger rising, stop, breathe deeply, and return to the center. People often ask me, Master, how can I control my anger? I tell them, you do not control it by fighting it. You control it by understanding it. Anger is a signal. It is telling you that something feels threatened. Your ego, your expectation, your desire. Instead of reacting, look inward and ask, why does this make me angry? Every emotion carries wisdom if you listen. Anger teaches you where your boundaries are. Fear teaches you where your faith is weak. Sadness teaches you what you value most. But if you drown in emotion, you cannot learn from it. To learn, you must step back. This is the discipline. To feel deeply, but act wisely. To be emotional but not reactive. To express but not explode. The modern world rewards noise. Everyone is shouting to be heard. Everyone is reacting faster, louder, angrier. But silence and control, they are rare and therefore they are powerful. The person who can stay composed while others lose control becomes a leader, not because of force but because of presence. They want you angry because anger divides. It divides nations, communities, relationships, and even your own inner self. But when you master emotional control, you become whole again. And wholeness is power. Emotional control does not mean you never feel pain. It means you can experience pain without letting it destroy your peace. You acknowledge it, you process it, and then you let it go. Pain is a teacher, do not turn it into a prison. In Shaolin, when a student is hit, he does not complain. He breathes, he accepts, he observes the pain until it transforms into strength. Life works the same way. Every challenge is a strike meant to test your endurance. Every insult is a test of your emotional balance. Every disappointment is a test of your patience. To win big in life, you must learn to win small battles every day. Battles against your impulses, your reactions, your inner storms. Each time you choose calmness over chaos, you win. Each time you respond instead of react, you win. Each time you breathe through discomfort instead of running from it, you win. Control gives you power, but discipline keeps that power. It is easy to control yourself once. It is difficult to control yourself every day, but mastery is built through repetition. The warrior trains not for the fight, but for life itself. When you practice emotional discipline, you become unshakable. People's opinions no longer control you. Circumstances no longer define your happiness. Success and failure become equal lessons, not emotional roller coasters. They want you angry because they want to pull you into the game of reaction. But you are not here to play that game. You are here to rise above it. The next time someone disrespects you, remember, they are testing your emotional discipline, not your worth. Your silence is your strength. Your calmness is your sword. Your awareness is your shield. In the heat of anger, pause. In the storm of emotion, breathe. In the chaos of life, be still. There is a difference between suppression and mastery. Suppression hides emotion. Mastery transforms it. When you suppress, the fire burns inside until it explodes. But when you master, the fire becomes light. You use the same energy that once burned you to illuminate your path. Think of the blacksmith. He uses fire to shape steel. Without fire, the metal cannot be transformed. But if the fire is uncontrolled, it destroys the metal. Your emotions are that fire. You are both the blacksmith and the steel. You must use your emotional fire to shape your spirit, not destroy it. To be emotionally disciplined is to live in freedom. You are no longer dragged by moods, manipulated by people, or enslaved by circumstances. You live from your center, grounded and aware. And understand this, emotional control is not about perfection. You will lose control sometimes. You will fall, you will react. But each time you return to awareness faster, each time you regain control sooner, you grow stronger. That is the journey of mastery, progress, not perfection. When people see you calm in the face of chaos, they will wonder how you do it. They will not understand that behind your calmness are years of inner work, of reflection, of breath, of discipline. They will not see the battles you fought in silence, but you will know that your silence is not emptiness. It is the sound of strength. You will know that your control is not coldness. It is wisdom. You will know that your calmness is not apathy. It is awareness. You see, control is not about changing the world. It is about mastering the only thing you truly can, yourself. And when you master yourself, the world around you starts to change. They want you angry. You stay calm. They want you to react. You stay aware. They want you to break. You stay centered. This is how you win big, not by conquering others, but by conquering your own chaos. When you control your emotions, you gain time. Time gives you perspective. Perspective gives you power. Power gives you freedom. So, remember this always. Control your mind, or it will control you. Master your emotions, or they will master you. They want you angry because they cannot control a calm mind. Stay silent, because your silence confuses their chaos. Win big, because emotional control is the ultimate victory. They want you angry. They want you restless. They want you distracted, because a distracted mind cannot build, and an angry mind cannot see clearly. The most dangerous person in this world is not the one who can fight the loudest, but the one who can stand in chaos and remain still. You see, most people are fighting the wrong battles. They fight for opinions, for validation, for temporary victories that feed the ego but starve the soul. The true battle, my friends, is not out there. It is inside. It is the battle for mastery of your own mind. When you learn to win inside, no one outside can defeat you. This is what I call the art of inner victory. It is the art of staying calm when provoked, focused when distracted, and peaceful when everything around you is loud and chaotic. They want you angry because anger consumes your energy. When you are angry, you forget your purpose. You start reacting instead of creating. You begin to fight battles that are not yours. But when you master the art of inner victory, you learn to conserve your energy and direct it only toward what truly matters. A true warrior does not fight every fight. He chooses his battles. He knows that energy is sacred, attention is power, and peace is priceless. When you stay silent while others shout, you are not being passive. You are being selective. You are choosing not to waste your energy where it cannot grow. You are choosing to invest your calmness in your vision instead of spending your emotions on noise. In the Shaolin tradition, we say, to win once, you must train 1,000 times. To win within, you must look inward 10,000 times. Every day you train the body, but how often do you train the mind? How often do you observe your own reactions? How often do you ask yourself, why am I angry? Why does this affect me? What is this teaching me? Inner victory begins with awareness. You cannot master what you do not see. If someone's words control your emotions, that person owns you. But when you become aware of how easily you are provoked, you begin to reclaim your power. Awareness turns reaction into reflection, and reflection turns chaos into clarity. They want you angry, because an angry person cannot think clearly. But clarity is what allows you to win big, not by force, but by understanding. The one who is aware sees beyond appearances. When someone tries to provoke you, you see their insecurity. When someone tries to insult you, you see their pain. When someone tries to pull you down, you see that they are already below you. This is the vision that comes from inner victory. Silence is not just the absence of words. It is the presence of mastery. When you are silent, you can hear what others cannot. You can listen to the whispers of intuition, the guidance of awareness, the quiet voice of truth inside you. You cannot hear wisdom in noise. Wisdom speaks softly. It waits for the moment when your mind becomes still. That is why stillness is not just peaceful, it is powerful. It opens the doorway to deeper understanding. When life becomes loud, do not try to shout over it. Become quieter instead, because when the world gets noisy, silence becomes your strength. They want you angry because anger makes you forget who you are. But inner victory is remembering. It is remembering your purpose when others distract you. It is remembering your discipline when others test you. It is remembering your values when others provoke you. In life, there will always be those who try to push you into reaction. The critics, the doubters, the envious ones. But you must understand that their purpose is to wake up your awareness. They are not your enemies, they are your teachers. They show you where you are still vulnerable, where your peace is still unsteady. When someone insults you and you feel pain, it means there is still a wound inside that needs healing. Use the moment, not to fight them, but to know yourself. The external attack becomes an internal mirror. This is how the wise turn enemies into opportunities for growth. Inner victory is not won by fighting the world. It is won by transcending it. It is when you realize that no one can make you angry without your permission. No one can offend you unless you hold on to the words. And no one can destroy your peace unless you hand it to them. You must guard your peace like a sacred flame. Every day the winds of distraction, fear, and anger will try to blow it out. But the flame of awareness cannot be extinguished if you protect it with mindfulness. In the temple, we train not just to move faster or strike harder. We train to remain balanced. The one who loses balance loses the fight, no matter how strong he is. The same applies to life. The one who loses emotional balance loses focus. And focus is the essence of success. To win big, you must first stop fighting small battles. Every argument, every criticism, every gossip, these are small battles. They drain your time, your energy, your peace. Ask yourself, does this serve my purpose? Does this help my growth? Does this deserve my attention? If the answer is no, walk away in silence. They will say you are cold. They will say you do not care. But in truth, you care too deeply to waste your energy on things that do not grow your soul. That is wisdom, not indifference. Inner victory also means mastering patience. Most people lose not because they are weak, but because they are impatient. They want results now. They want validation now. They want to prove themselves now. But the wise understand that every great thing takes time. Discipline takes time. Growth takes time. Mastery takes time. They want you angry because anger makes you rush. Anger blinds you to timing, but silence teaches patience. And patience allows you to strike when the moment is right, not from emotion, but from precision. A tiger does not chase every movement in the forest. It watches. It waits. It acts only when the time is right. That is why every move it makes is efficient and powerful. You must learn to be the same. Observe, wait, move with purpose. Inner victory is also about forgiveness, not for others, but for yourself. The past may hold mistakes, regrets, and pain, but if you do not forgive yourself, you keep carrying the weight that prevents you from moving freely. Forgiveness is not forgetting, it is releasing. You let go of what you cannot change so that your energy can flow toward what you can. Silence helps you forgive because it brings understanding. In silence, you see that everyone is fighting their own battle. The person who hurt you is also wounded. The one who insulted you is also lost. When you understand, compassion arises naturally. And compassion is the highest form of strength. They want you angry because anger keeps you in the same vibration as your enemy. But compassion elevates you. It lifts you above the noise, above the conflict. You begin to see not as a victim, but as a master of your own energy. This is inner victory, when nothing external can disturb your internal harmony. When storms come, you do not fight the wind, you anchor deeper. When darkness falls, you do not panic, you light your own flame. There's great power in restraint, the power to act, yet choose not to. The power to speak, yet remain silent. The power to fight, yet walk away. This restraint is not weakness, it is the mark of inner maturity. When you are calm in chaos, people will notice. Some will admire it, others will misunderstand it, but you do not need to explain yourself. The sun does not explain why it shines. The mountain does not explain why it stands. Be like that. True strength does not need to prove itself. It simply exists. They want you angry, stay peaceful. They want you reactive, stay reflective. They want you distracted, stay focused. They want you defeated, stay disciplined. That is how you win big, quietly, humbly, consistently. Remember, the outer world mirrors the inner world. The moment you conquer your inner storms, the outer storms lose their power. They want you angry, stay silent, win big. They want you angry, they want you loud, they want you reactive. Because in reaction, you forget your power. The moment you shout, the moment you fight to prove, the moment you lose your stillness, you lose connection to the strength that lives inside you. But when you stay silent, when you move with awareness, when you respond instead of react, then you are walking the quiet path to power. You see, real power does not need to announce itself. Real strength does not need to be seen or approved. The tiger does not roar to prove it is strong. The mountain does not move to prove it is stable. True power reveals itself only through presence, not performance. They want you angry because anger burns your energy quickly. It consumes your focus, your clarity, your discipline. Anger makes you waste your power on noise instead of nurturing it in silence. The quiet path is not the path of weakness. It is the path of warriors who have learned that not every battle deserves their blade. You do not need to respond to every insult. You do not need to fight every provocation. Sometimes, walking away is not surrender. It is evolution. The loud person may win the argument, but the silent person wins peace. And peace, my friends, is the foundation of true power. When you are peaceful, you are centered. When you are centered, you are unshakable. When you are unshakable, nothing, no person, no situation, no storm can move you off your path. That is power. The quiet path to power begins with awareness. Awareness of your emotions, awareness of your thoughts, awareness of your reactions. Most people are ruled by emotion, carried away by waves they cannot control. But awareness allows you to become the ocean itself. You no longer chase every wave. You simply watch them rise and fall. Every emotion is like a wave. Anger, sadness, excitement, fear, they all rise, peak, and fade. But the ocean beneath your awareness remains still. The path to power is not about stopping the waves. It is about remembering that you are the ocean. They want you angry because they want to pull you into their storm. But the ocean is never afraid of a storm. It absorbs it. You are that ocean. You must learn to be vast, deep, and calm enough that no wave can drown your peace. In the Shaolin Temple, we train not just to move fast or strike hard, but to see clearly. The first step to clarity is silence. Only in silence can you see what truly is. Only in silence can you understand what truly matters. The one who is always talking cannot listen. The one who is always reacting cannot observe. The one who is always angry cannot understand. So, silence becomes the gate to wisdom, and wisdom is the foundation of all power. They want you angry because an angry person forgets to think, but a silent person sees through everything. The quiet path is not easy. It demands humility, patience, and discipline. It requires you to accept that you will be misunderstood. People will think you are weak because you don't react. They will mistake your silence for ignorance. But silence is not ignorance. It is intelligence choosing its moment. You do not need to prove your truth. Truth stands on its own. Lies need noise. Truth only needs time. The power of silence is not passive, it is active. Silence allows you to recharge, to realign, to prepare. A warrior sitting quietly is not doing nothing. He is sharpening his sword within. When the right moment comes, your action will carry the weight of all your quiet preparation. That is what it means to win big, not by noise, but by mastery. Power without control destroys. Control without awareness limits, but awareness with silence that transforms. When you begin walking the quiet path, you will start to see differently. You will notice how people waste their energy arguing about what doesn't matter. You will see how society rewards reaction and punishes reflection. You will feel how hard it is for most people to sit still because silence confronts them with themselves. That is why people fear silence. In silence, the truth of who you are rises to the surface. Your fears, your wounds, your doubts, all of them appear when the noise disappears. But instead of running, the wise man faces them. He looks directly at what is uncomfortable, and in doing so, he becomes free. Silence becomes your mirror. It shows you where you still need to grow. It shows you what still controls you. It shows you the parts of yourself that seek approval, attention, validation. And when you see them clearly, you can begin to release them. They want you angry because anger feeds the ego. It makes you feel powerful in the moment but weak afterward. Silence, however, feeds the soul. It humbles the ego but strengthens the spirit. When you can be silent in chaos, you have mastered yourself. When you can walk away without bitterness, you have mastered your emotions. When you can forgive without expecting apology, you have mastered your heart. That is the quiet path to power. In life, there are two kinds of victories, outer and inner. Outer victories are seen, medals, money, recognition. Inner victories are unseen, peace, patience, awareness. The world celebrates the outer, but the masters celebrate the inner, because outer victory means nothing if the inner world is broken. When you master your inner world, outer success becomes effortless. Your calmness becomes your weapon. Your silence becomes your shield. Your awareness becomes your strategy. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer react, you respond. You no longer compete, you create. The world may still try to provoke you. It will test your silence. It will test your patience. It will test your boundaries. But remember, each test is a chance to practice mastery. Do not ask for an easy path. Ask for the strength to walk the difficult one with grace. Power is not in dominance. Power is in direction. Power is not in control over others. Power is in control over self. Power is not in being feared. Power is in being respected. Quietly, naturally, effortlessly. Look at the river. It carves through mountains, not by force, but by consistency. Your silence works the same way. Day after day, your calmness shapes the world around you. It may not be loud, but it is lasting. They want you angry because they fear your calm. The calm person cannot be manipulated. The calm person cannot be controlled. The calm person cannot be provoked into losing focus. When you walk the quiet path, you become unpredictable, and that unpredictability is power. Silence is your secret weapon. Stillness is your invisible armor. Awareness is your unshakable ground. The warrior who conquers himself no longer needs to conquer others. His presence becomes peace. His silence becomes teaching. His discipline becomes inspiration. So, when they push you, smile. When they provoke you, breathe. When they lie about you, stay silent. Because your silence will outlast their noise. Every reaction you resist is a victory. Every emotion you master is a step toward freedom. Every time you stay calm in the fire, your spirit grows stronger. Remember, they want you angry because that's how they win. But you win by staying silent, not out of fear, but out of mastery. You win not by proving, but by becoming. You win not by fighting the storm, but by being the sky that holds it. This is the quiet path to power, the path of patience, awareness, and unshakable inner strength. You do not need to shout. You do not need to prove. You do not need to fight for recognition. Just be still, be present, be disciplined. And in that stillness, your power will speak for you. They want you angry. Stay silent, win big.